Chester Frazier is out of Morgantown, gone to Blacksburg to join the Virginia Tech program, but you won't believe why that is.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am the host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Thanks for joining in, guys. Tuesday fun day. Yesterday was Monday fun day. Tomorrow is Wednesday fun day. Pretty good days. Brought to you by Game Time. Good, guys. Game Time is one of my favorite things we do around here. You guys know that. All you have to do is create an account, head over to the app, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. On today's show, we're going to talk about this Chester Frazier situation. I've done some digging, talked to a few people involved, and have gotten to some of the root as to why this happened. I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about it, but I'm going to talk about it because I don't have to please anybody except you guys, right? So what some others maybe can't talk about, I can talk about. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to go over this RichRod and Travis Trickett press conference deal where there was a lot of cool stuff said. I was 9 out of 10 impressed with Travis Trickett. He gives a really good press conference, a really good overall just interview. And there's a lot to like about him and everything he's got going on. So we'll talk about that too. And then Chris Henry is going to stay a Buckeye. That's another thing we need to talk about. I wasn't planning on talking about it, but as I'm sitting here, I realize that's a big topic as well. So a lot to get to here, guys. Let's dive into this. Chester Frazier released a statement earlier today. He spent one season at West Virginia with Darren DeVries when Darren DeVries was struggling to put together a staff. Some people got involved. Frazier, who joined Illinois in 2021 after over a decade of high major experience, is, really he was an Illinois guy, so we were really lucky to pull him in. He obviously brought Hansberry and Harris along with him, who were really integral to the success of the team last year. He was under contract to $575,000 at West Virginia next year. And his statement said this, quote, "What a year. Though this was probably my most rewarding year as a coach, we gave out a lot. We got a lot out of this group, and they gave us everything they had. A group that was fun to coach and be around. From the Italy trip to that buzzer beater in Kansas City, I no doubt we built a resume that deserved to be in the field. I want to say thank you to our players, the staff, administration, fans, and everyone who played a part in the season. How fun was that Bahamas trip, winning in the fog at home versus Iowa State? Want to send special thanks to our seniors. Appreciate the way you represented this season. It wasn't easy, but we sure found a way. Future is bright for all of you. So the Mountaineer fans, you guys are the best. Thank you for your undying loyalty and love for WVU. You guys made my family feel welcomed, and we will always be appreciative. Wish we could have finished what we started, but I'm sure you guys will be great. With love, Frazier." That last sentence, guys, is ties into part of what my intel is telling me, which is Chester Frazier was basically cut loose, guys. And a lot of people would probably want to know, well, why the hell would you do that? That's stupid. Ross Hodge is his own guy. He's got his own loyalties. He's got his own staff, right? And I spoke to somebody over there, North Texas today, and I think that they were having a hard time, the Hodge portion of this, deciding who, deserves to move up a level with him. And he's a very loyal guy. I think he wants to remain loyal to the people that have been loyal to him and helped him get to this place. Simultaneously, though, Chester Frazier's under contract, and if West Virginia were to fire him, then he's going to be owed money, right? So this was a tentative. I think this was a mutual agreement. I did hear that there was possibly talk of giving him a a slot on the staff, but like a 3 or 3rd or 4th assistant. Chester Frazier at this point in his career is not a 3rd or 4th assistant. He probably a head coach, really, if he would just like that Oral Roberts job. He could get jobs like that. He's just waiting for the big one, guys. What else can I say? He keeps betting on himself. We'll see where it goes, but I have some thoughts on just the absence of Chester Frazier. First, I want to say this too. I agree with at least partially the fact that Ross Hodge wants to hire his own guys, because you're hired at this job, especially I do believe Ross Hodge, from what is being said. Now, a year from now, it could be a lie, but we have to believe things at face value for now. I think he's looking long-term at the job. So if you're looking long-term at the job, keeping Chester Frazier would be great for just this year. But here's the thing, guys. Gosh, I hate even bringing this stuff up, but I had somebody call me yesterday and we talked for probably a couple hours. And this is documented. I mean, it's not like it's a lie. Chester Frazier has a bit of a history of being difficult to deal with and sometimes undermining head coaches. At least that's what Coach Underwood would tell you from Illinois, and which is one of the main reasons he left there. He didn't leave there in a good situation. Why didn't Darren DeVries take this amazing assistant with him to Indiana, who could bring Amani Hansberry, Buck Harris, all those high school recruits that we were tied to? You don't think DeVries knows that he's got pretty much, he's the guy that's tied to those guys? He knows that too. But what I know is the rumor is that he is the kind of guy that wants all the praise from the players, and in a lot of ways will kind of undermine the head coach. Now, look, I'm not saying this 100% for sure happens, but you can go look at Illinois. There's several different articles. There's several different message boards, even like there's a lot of different stuff out there that says that this happened. There's also, it's documented that he and the Illinois coach definitely didn't get along at the end. And then you can follow it back before then, and he's had issues with head coaches in the past. So Ross Hodge realizing, hey, man, I'm new, and me coming into this West Virginia situation kind of young, probably not going to – Chester Frazier is going to feel like he deserves this job, guys. I don't know. I don't want to put this out here. I'm not putting words in Chester Frazier's mouth. I don't want to say for sure. I'm just trying to come at this from a little bit different point of view, right? Based on the intel. If I were Ross Hodge, I would probably think, if he is hard to deal with, a new coach, a young coach, a guy that has a better resume than Ross Hodge outside of the 2 years at North Texas, could a guy like Chester Frazier kind of feel like, this is bullcrap, man? Like, possibly so, right? So I just say this. Easier just to go ahead and move on. Understand that these are really good players that we're not probably going to get. I mean, we just saw, right? We just saw Braden Hawthorne. He just posted pictures of him at Virginia Tech earlier. Who do you think orchestrated that? So yeah, is Chester Frazier going to take Harris and Hansberry likely, and these recruits? Probably so. Now I don't know if he'll get all of them, if any of them, but I would be surprised I would be surprised, guys, if he doesn't at least swing for him, right? So, and try to land on his feet there at Virginia Tech. And look, at Virginia Tech, a place where it's going to be easier to win than West Virginia based on the conference you're in. Sure, man. I think absolutely Hansberry and Harris would be great additions and starters right away there for sure. So I think there's a twofold effect here. First of all, I think it sucks. I think that on one hand, it would have been amazing, and he could have spun this in a great positive way for Hodge to keep Frazier around, and then you probably keep Hansberry and Harris, and at least Hawthorne probably comes along. That's a great start, but it's more than just that. So I seen somebody type earlier, he's on a short leash. That still doesn't affect anything. Like with, that he's on a short leash with you, the fan, or me, the fan, really doesn't matter. I have no control over the situation. So, whether he sucks or is good in year one, it's not going to really matter. It's what happens in year 2 or 3 and 4 and beyond. So, whether they build this thing fast or slow, we have to live with it. I do think the blueprint is there for them to win early, but he needs to lose tonight. Guys, we need him to lose tonight. They've got official visits set up. Now, I have reached out to probably 20 of these portal players that I've gone over with you guys over the last couple of shows, and probably half have been Chester Frazier contacts. The other half have been other coaches, North Texas coaches, let's be honest. So what does that say? Well, it means that a lot of these guys that we've contacted in the portal may be Chester Frazier guys. They may be actually going to Virginia Tech now. You might as well just flip that to Virginia Tech has reached out to them, in my opinion. So there's a lot going on here, a lot of moving parts. But at the end of the day, I personally think this was a loss for the program. I think that Chester Frazier could have helped in year one. But I also recognize that he has a history of being difficult to deal with. And maybe a young coach like Ross Hodge isn't in a good place to deal with that. And nobody wants to be dictated to who they get to have when they get somewhere. Imagine you got a head coaching job. Would you want to be told that you're going to keep one of the the guys on staff from before when you feel like I've got my staff together here? It's just not a great situation overall. And I personally believe that at the end of the day, while it may not be great here this year, I think overall going forward, it's going to be fine. So let's go to break, guys. On the other side of break, RichRod feels like Neil Brown's a good coach. That shocked me when I heard it. And Travis Trickett really knocked my socks off today with some of the stuff he said. You don't want to miss it. I'll tell you what, man, we've got some good coaches and we've got a lot of things going on in that football program. Stick around. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. Did you know that Monarch Money is that place you can check and say, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Not just a budgeting app, guys. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one convenient place. So just stop managing your money and start building your wealth. All-in-one convenience at Monarch Money. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. Making collaboration easy, managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can even track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without that stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com/LOCKEDONCollege for half off your very first year. And we also don't want to forget about our friends over at Game Time. That's right, guys. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy from the crowd and witnessing unforgettable moments in the Coliseum. There's nothing like experiencing a big game at the Coliseum or at Mountaineer Field in person. Well, getting tickets for those events should not be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute tickets at unbeatable prices. I just checked the Game Time app, and there's an amazing deals on some good matchups coming up this year, guys. They have super deals, and there's a lowest price guarantee where they'll give you 110% of the difference if you can find a lower deal. So that's pretty cool. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off today. Download the Game Time app where you get last-minute tickets at a lowest price. That's guaranteed. And then ask yourself the question of all questions. What time is it? It's game time. We roll into segment 2. We crack our dew. That's right. We have a cold dew today. We deserve the dew today. That liquid gold that just makes me oh so happy. I dropped my lid. It's all I got, boss. It's all I got. I don't do the hard stuff no more. What do you guys want me to do? Thank you to Shaq and Raven and the mod as mods. I keep on forgetting to add more people as mods. Somebody needs to remind me. But thank you to those that are in the chat as mods. And guys, Discord link is in the chat. If you want intel, if you want different things, the portal is about to hit on both football and basketball. I will be when that happens. I haven't been involved with Discord a ton here lately because I've been so busy producing the show and researching. And a lot of times sometimes I need a break because I do so much of this. I'll be a lot more involved in the Discord because I'm going to be building that up. Make sure you click on that Discord link and join because it's free right now. There will be a paid aspect to the site later on down the road when the portal hits, when I'm getting commitments from players and you want to know who they are, who's a silent commit, those kind of things. But you got to join first while it's free. Okay, so RichRod, Travis Trickett spoke today to the media, which, guys, I know we're getting a lot of these RichRod breakdowns and we're getting a lot of these Travis Trickett breakdowns, and they may seem a little monotonous, but there's nuggets in here. And what I like to say is there's a theme. If you watch all of these like I do, I watch every second of every press conference, and that means of every single one. I don't miss one. Because I think for me, I'm a big reading in between the lines person, and that's just what I like to do. Here's what he said today. Another step we need to take. We need to take another level of intensity. We have another level to unlock, which is one of the first things I wrote down here. And then I wrote down here paranoia because I keep coming back to this. RichRod's paranoid, guys. He is. He said, look, if there was no more portal, more guys would play in the spring game coming up. So because of the portal and tampering, we've shut down the portal, we've shut down the spring game pretty much. Won't talk about players like used to be. Coach Rod would single out a guy and say, hey, man, he's playing great. This guy needs to get better. The classic coaches can use the media to motivate players. Well, RichRod he ain't afraid to talk, right? But this tampering situation, and I think it's just dawned on him this year, especially with Coach Rule saying what he did. We're just not getting a lot out of him about specific players, which is why you need to come to me because I talk to people that know more, right? He talked about roster movement being inevitable and this cut down to 105. He brings it up in every press conference, guys, and you can tell he's really dreading it. And they keep on putting an emphasis on the evaluation process here because they've really got to get this right. They do. They got to get it right. They can't get it wrong. They can't miss on anybody. Like if you're not deserving or if you're not playing well enough or if you're not keeping up this hard edge mentality, you need to go, unfortunately. And that means scholarship. That means walk on. That means if you're one of our best players even, you got to get the best 105 bodies. And like we talked about yesterday, they're even exploring playing two ways at some positions, guys, which is wild. He said he really don't want to cut down to 105. He dislikes morning practices. Everyone is learning this process together. Talked about Zach Alley's playbook being huge, which is a big difference from what Jordan Leslie had. Remember, he always talked about dumbing it down, simplifying it. Zach Alley ain't about that life. He's got an intricate playbook, lots of blitzes, lots of different things coming at the players, and a lot to remember, which is why you go get a Chase Wilson, Colorado State, who's had hundreds and hundreds of tackles in college to call this defense, along with other guys. Talked about the pro model that the team has undergone, pretty much how, the pay structure is left tackle 1 gets this much within reason, guard 3 gets this much within reason, and that's just how they're going to do things, which I find to be interesting. We'll see if it works. He talked about the GM, and this is one of the biggest nuggets we got out of today's RichRod press conference. So at West Virginia, the GM doesn't pick the players, and neither did Fabianich, by the way, under Neil Brown. But he had more of a say, from what I understand. At West Virginia, the way it is they all make it's a democratic decision. They all get together and do this basically together. He said they pick, but the coordinators and positional coaches have the most say. So I thought that was pretty crazy. And then he said it. Neil Brown is a good coach. He says he's a really good coach, I think he was alluding to a lack of resources for Neil Brown. That was when he was here. There were so many people that didn't believe in him. I don't think Neil Brown got the support that RichRod has got. That's just a fact, by the way. So it is what it is, right? He said this staff has the makings to be the best staff he's ever had. And then the last thing, and this was the most important thing he said today, they're going to have a 3-day meeting coming up here in May where they map out the expectations, everyone's role, and the program expectations for the next 365 days, guys. He said he's got a book this thick. That's pretty crazy, man. That's wild to me. So RichRod, a very detail-oriented coach. Travis Trickett had a lot to say about that. Said he wouldn't miss in a million years the chance to coach with Rich Rodriguez. Guys, Travis Trickett knocked my socks off. I'll tell you why next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by SupplyHouse, y'all. That's right. We talk about SupplyHouse here every week. Get the supplies you need from the sites made for the skilled trades over at SupplyHouse. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, SupplyHouse is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with complete inventory over 200,000 parts, 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast or coast to coast. If you need help with an order, SupplyHouse offers extended support, expert support, and industry-leading service. So you'll always talk to a real person. And look, we always love that because I hate talking to fake people on the phone, automated systems. Trade pros looking for an extra edge. So their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are taking this advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start joining plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code S-5-H for 5% off your first order. Do it at SupplyHouse. Do it today.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
It's your team every day. Look, guys, Travis Trickett really impressed me today at his press conference. And, he had a lot to say, a lot of good information. Probably got more out of his info than almost anywhere else that I've heard this offseason, honestly. And I got a lot of good perspective from him about what it's like to coach in the staff and all this stuff. So, what is his job? Well, obviously he was the offensive coordinator at places. The last place he was at, which I think was Coastal Carolina. He was a head coaching candidate too there at times. So he's basically the de facto OC based off what he said today, in my opinion. But what he mostly does is whatever needs help that day, whoever needs extra help, he floats around. He coaches everything but the O-line, which is what I have written down here. He said he can't put a price on coaching for RichRod, and that's why he chose to come home. The coach he learned under, the coach his dad's coached with for years, and he said you can't put a price on that. And they asked him about the offensive coordinator thing. They said, hey, man, is this an ego hit? And his answer was so good. He said, so RichRod will not allow ego in this program. You either coach for the kids or you're done. Basically, like you can't bring ego to this thing. And he said, coach coming from where he's come from and what WV means to his family, Trickett, he said he can't have an ego because of what WV means to his family. He said he's Coach Rod's right-hand man on offense. He didn't say offense, but I'm assuming that's what he means. He said they look around and it's like he looks at Pat White, he looks at Noel Devine, and it's like 2005 all over again. I laughed when I heard that. He talked about the first time he worked with Coach Rod and how he'd go to his dad and thought maybe his dad would get him in there. And he said, nope, you got to go ask him yourself. I thought that was a pretty cool story. Installing RichRod's mentality and hard edge way is the number one goal of the program right now. Second to that is evaluation. So, because they were asking him questions about, like, where's this team at? Where do you think everybody's at? Like, is the team far along? Are they not so far along? Like, the typical questions you're going to get. And I felt like he really answered those questions well by saying installing RichRod's mentality in the hard edge way is the number one goal of the program right now. Evaluation is number 2. And in 2 weeks, we want to look at older guys in the portal and evaluate those. Remember, guys, we've been hearing RichRod say for weeks now, there's no experience on the offensive line, and it's scaring them. There's no experience at a lot of positions, and it's scaring them. I told you guys, we're going to add up to 12 people in the portal, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure. So I'm personally believing that we're going to have probably at least 12 more guys come in, if not more, which means we're also going to cut a bunch of guys this coming portal opening period. So he said they're pulling another level out of these kids beyond what they think they have inside. So, you think you hit a wall and you've got a whole nother level, basically. He said toughness is a talent, which I thought that sounds like it could go on a shirt. Toughness is a talent. You either have it or it's forged, which I thought was an awesome saying from him. So toughness is a talent. You either have it or we're going to forge it. Basically, we're going to iron sharpens iron, and we're going to put you under the heat, and we're going to make it happen. I loved that. I thought that was awesome. He said that Coach Rod has a relentless getting after your ass mentality. And he said he has the relentless pursuit of hard edge and an unwavering commitment to it. So he had a lot of really good one-liners in there today. And I came away extremely impressed with him. Knowing that he's on this staff, I really do believe that although he wasn't so highly successful at his last stop, he was only there for, a year? Maybe 2. I'm not sure, but I think it was just a year. I have no doubt that he's going to be fine. Maybe calling plays isn't what he's, at the end of the day, maybe not 100% what he's supposed to do, but you can tell he's a leader. I was highly impressed with him. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pike from both coaches today. And, like I've been saying the last couple of days, my expectations are low for this year's football program, and that's out of the norm for me. The last 3-4 years, I've bought into the Kool-Aid every year thinking we would have a shot, at the Big 12. And this year I really feel like for the first time in a while, and this will probably be the year I'm wrong, that we're probably going to be a 6-win team, 5-win team or whatever in year 1. But I think it's going to turn quick in year 2, personally. That's what I believe. And I'm okay to wait for that. I think that, expecting a Sonny Dykes 11-win season in year 1 is fine, but Sonny Dykes won with Gary Patterson's players. RichRod lost everybody. So it's already his team. There's no players to win with from before outside of Nico, and it's just one player. And he may not even win the starting job 100%. There's no 100% guarantee, although I hear he's looking amazing. So it's interesting, guys. And we're not hearing a lot of great things. It's not like with Neil and those guys where you get a lot of really good, a lot of some bad. No, with RichRod, they hate everything right now. So, and I think that's probably, we'll get used to how he talks later as we go. But for now, I'm still trying to figure it out, because with Neil, I already knew what to expect based on his answers. Like, you could just tell, right? Like, he would get dug in on certain players, and there was no way he was ever going to unseat them. I feel like that with RichRod. If you're just joining, guys, and thank you, Love Sports. I appreciate that, man. I will be watching Coach Hodge tonight at 7:00. I want him to lose. Absolutely. I think it's important that he loses for our program. I think that for his resume, winning the NIT is semi-important, but you can't make me believe that it's going to make a huge difference otherwise this year. Now, maybe it makes a little difference anyway if they play till Thursday, but man, look, we know this too. Yeah, so if they lose tonight, that means they've got a couple of days before the dead period for a week, right? You can get a lot done in 48 hours, and I would imagine probably Thursday or Friday there would be a press conference. But they need to get some visits lined up, and they need to get them done fast. That's what we know. So we're kind of hoping that happens. Thankfully, the one thing he has over Darren DeVries, who got hired around this time last year, I think he got hired on the 18th of March last year, or the 14th, one of those two. So DeVries right around this time was just now getting some staff put together. Hodge is going to come with a couple guys. So they're going to have a lot of the infrastructure in place. So I still think we're going to be in a little bit better place than we were last year. And we saw there were players that we could add last year. Valorant from North Texas will be an incredible first add. If he's coming along, that'll get us a little bit ahead. I think he's a great player. Jasper Floyd gets an extra year. That'll be another player I think we can add for depth. I don't necessarily want him to be a starter at West Virginia. Lorient, maybe. He's an incredible athlete. So it's going to be interesting, guys. By the way, for those of you that are just joining, what we talked about was, obviously in the first segment, we talked about Chester Frazier and him going to Virginia Tech. And I just want to touch on that again since we filled up in the chat a little bit. So what I was able to find out was, yeah, Shaq, that's great if you can do that. For those of you listening on podcast, somebody asked me a question about getting Nico on the show in the chat. Sometimes I forget to say, but because people are listening only are like, what's he talking about? Lost my train of thought too. Oh, yeah. So talking about Chester Frazier and the reasoning. So I've heard a couple different things. I do know that I think it was an amicable split as far as if West Virginia fired him, they were going to owe him a lot of money, several $100,000. If he left, I think that it's a little different. I don't think he would owe West Virginia money. And likely it was amicable, but I can't promise either way. But, like I said earlier too, what I was told was Hodge wanted his own staff. Basically, that's what it comes down to. And that anything that Frazier was going to get was going to be down in the third or fourth assistant position. Now, that part I'm not 100% sure on. I do know that Hodge wanted to do his own staff. So take that for what you will. It sounds like they didn't go after Frazier extremely hard. But if you don't look at this in a vacuum, if you don't take the microscope out, take it away. And I think that this is going to be fine, man. You can't hire a coach because of a couple of recruits and a couple of players in year one, especially if they're not a match and they won't get along. So that's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours below. Like the video, guys. Hit that subscription button, please. And share the video out as always. And I can't thank you guys enough for being here. We'll get any more breaking news tonight. We'll probably talk about it. But other than that, not a lot else to talk about, guys. I appreciate you for joining. Thank you to Raven, and thank you to Shaq in the chat for being moderators. As always, extremely important. It's been fun. I'll talk to you guys later tonight or tomorrow as we dive in more, as a lot of this stuff comes up on us. We'll know a little bit more about Hodge and his situation after tonight, I imagine. Let's go UNC Wilmington, I guess, or whoever they're playing. UC Irvine. Let's go UC Irvine. I'll see you guys later. I'm out of here.